ever GUTV Bracketology recap show. I'm David Gentili.
And I'm Dave Soto. And let me comment really quick on that unbelievable intro. Ooh. That was a Graham Enos production, ladies and gentlemen. A great editor and a long line of great editors here at GUTV. Very proud.
Definitely made my life easier a couple times. And hey, I'm just saying, alumni, if you want somebody to make your life easier as far as post-production goes, that's Graham, E-N-O-S. Better yet, you could probably just ask Dan about him. But the reason why we're here is GUTV Bracketology, and on the maiden voyage of this show, we figured we'd give you an idea of what you're playing for. Well, you put in cash, but Dave, they're not getting any cash out of us.
Yeah, you know what? Not only are you playing for an official Ask Professor Dan Show t-shirt, which, by the way, is the first and only live cyber game show in the history of the universe. That is a brilliant piece of fluorescent gold my friend David is handing out. You are playing to be part of the best homework assignment ever. This summer, Professor Dan will take 3 GUTV students to Turkey and will lead their friends over there on a digital safari, including vlogging throughout Asia Minor.
Just one of the many new things we've got going on here at GUTV. You also might not recognize this backdrop. We're actually in a different building than some of the pioneers of GUTV were. Broadcasting building out here on the west side of campus. I want to give a shout out right now to Sean Ryan and Jack Landa, because I don't know how you guys could have done it. The studio here is really nice, but 4th floor of College Hall, or as you may know at admin, we start calling it that nowadays.
I could not imagine walking up to the 4th floor every time. I'd be panting and sweating. I'd look so bad on camera.
Do you think you would change your major if that was the case?
I may as well be exercise science. It's the exact same thing.
Or you could get a PE credit or something like that.
You'd think, right?
Okay. Well, again, we're going to tell you the reason why we're here. GUTV Bracketology, and let's jump right into the bracket standings so far. I know you alums are doing a lot of great things out there. Not your brackets, though. That's definitely not one of them. No alums in the top 5. Come on, guys. You should all know college basketball pretty well. I will give you the top 5 we have, though. First of all, Jennifer Garrity, our favorite spouse of the Garrity marriage, 193 points. She picked Kansas to win it all, so you know she's smart.
Brenda Green in 2nd place right now, a freshman here at GU in Broadcasting 203, 187 points. Ohio State is her winner. A freshman in 2nd place. The future is bright, folks. You're doing a good thing here with GUTV.
And then 3rd place, our 2nd place spouse of the Garrity marriage with 184 points, Dan Garrity. Unfortunately, the future's not looking too bright for you, Dan. You picked Gonzaga. I love the pick. I admire it, but it's not going to play for you down the road.
Yeah, picking with his heart, not with his head. And in 5th place right now, me, rounding out the top 5, doing a pretty good job. Got Kansas winning it all, so I'm still in the hunt for the top 5. But this guy's making me look that much better because I think he's in 2nd to last or something.
Also, Dave, forgot to mention somebody. Sorry, Taylor Vito. Didn't mean to snub you, but in a 3rd place tie with Dan Garrity. And we'll have more from Taylor in the show.
Yeah, you'll find out a special piece from him later on. Now, I know you alums are struggling. We even did you a favor. We created our own alum division here with GUTV Bracketology. Right now, Jack Quigg leading the alumni division with 181 points. Jack working in Seattle over at NCC Media. Jack, hello to you. I don't know if you remember, you and I had a little interaction last year. You set me up with an interview for the Mark Few Show. Good to see you again, Jack. Thank you for participating. Really appreciate it.
Also, now we have the parents division. Figured, separate the students, separate the alums, the people that are really going the extra mile, including my mom. Maybe that's why I'm plugging it. I don't know, but don't judge me on that. Only 2 people in the parents division right now. Currently leading is Bill Rosenberger, the father of Brian Rosenberger, who is in charge of video and marketing at Portland Community College. He has 173 points, and his pick to win it all is Duke. Next up is my mom holding down last place, 158 points in Ohio State. That Duke-Ohio State matchup could go a long way into deciding this 2-horse race.
Yeah, it could.
Mom, you know how much Gonzaga basketball I watch. We talk about it pretty much every time we're on the phone. So, Dave, I think we should recap for the rest of these folks out here, too, just how much we know about Gonzaga and how they played in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, well, after an up-and-down season for the Zags, certainly finishing high in the WCC tournament with a win over St. Mary's, clicking on all cylinders as they head into that St. John's game, and it really showed.
Yeah, St. John's in the Big East. Everyone was hyping them up, but I'll be totally honest, we kind of killed them. We kind of took them out of their own game. Gonzaga really played the best game of basketball I've honestly seen in my 3 years here.
Well, the thing that surprised me the most and the thing that made it so special was the way they shot the ball. I mean, everybody from Marquise Carter to Dimitri Goodson to Stephen Gray to even Elias Harris from outside was raining. That was the big key for us, I thought, in the ballgame.
Yeah, the Zags definitely playing their best basketball of the year at this time of year, and so was my perceived leader of the team, Marquise Carter. He had a career-high 24 against St. John's. I like the guy a lot. He's got a really complete offensive game. He can do everything from scoring to dishing out the ball. He really came on strong late in the year, and I think he was huge for the Zags. Unfortunately, though, didn't put up a point against BYU. That was personally heartbreaking for me, and I'm sure it was heartbreaking for Marquise as well. That was a tough game to watch, Dave.
Well, absolutely a tough game. I mean, what else can you say except for it was Jimmer being Jimmer? I mean, the young man is phenomenal, similar to what we had here a few years back. I'm sure some of you alumni remember firsthand Mr. Adam Morrison. He's that kind of player. He's very special to watch.
Yeah, I remember being bummed that actually we weren't going to play BYU until they got to the conference next year, so we weren't going to see Jimmer Fredette. And, well, now I'm going to say that's a matchup I never wanted to see, Dave.
Yeah, and I mean, in all honesty about that game, I didn't hate Coach Few's game plan to try and stop him. I mean, he had a quote before the game saying something that Jimmer was going to get his 30. We need to limit everyone else's chances. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, and unfortunately, we lost the game.
Yeah, and especially a tough way for Gonzaga to go out because they usually do better as a lower seed. So, I mean, coming off that WCC tournament and off the St. John's game, I had high hopes for this team, but unfortunately, it didn't pan out. Tough year. Tough way to end the year, Dave.
Well, Dave, fortunately for the Zags, the cupboard is not bare for next year. The heart of the team coming back with a great recruiting class. Mr. Basketball from Idaho, from Washington, and from Oklahoma should make for a good year.
And speaking of bright futures, you probably know about Courtney Vandersloot and her possible future in the WNBA. Who you probably don't know about is GUTV's Liz Verdi, who I personally think has a bright future in broadcasting. You'll get to hear a little bit about both of them coming up after this commercial break.
Clear. All right. This is where we cut that edit out. I like the Verdi line. Did you say something about Rosenblatt?
Rosenberger?
Do we have a Rosenberger? Went to school here.
I mean, you would know better than we would, honestly.
Very memorable kid. Okay, ready for the next session?
Yeah,
All right.
let's do it.
These glasses aren't distracting you at all. Kenny Pravitz just
I didn't
sent
want
these
to
to me in the mail, and he said, the boys are going to say you look fly.
We agreed before the show. We honestly weren't going to say
I didn't know why you were wearing them. I thought you were like trying out a new look or something. It doesn't work. The glasses look sweet.
Listen, I know they don't work. I'm not going to tell Kenny that. The thing I do remember about him, he was a very, very sensitive young man. I do want to tell you, though, he sent me a check. It's to me personally. And I don't think for altruistic reasons that I should accept that. And they don't cash these at the Knights of Columbus. So remind people how to actually, I know, make sure people know how to send their money in. It's the one website, make a donation to Gonzaga, and then there's a slash, you say what program, broadcasting program.
Okay.
All right. Liz Verdi bit is next.
How about-
Stand by. Let's get ready to roll.
We'll tell them as long as you don't wear the glasses again.
I don't know what to tell him. Cut that part out, okay?
On it.
All right, good.
Welcome back to the first ever GUTV Bracketology recap show. I'm David Gentili, joined by my broadcast partner, Dave Soto. And Dave, so far we've covered the brackets, the Gonzaga men's basketball team. We're leaving somebody out, though.
We're leaving out the Gonzaga women's basketball team, who hosted Iowa last week in the first round of the NCAA tournament here at the McCarthy Athletic Center. Boy, we were there as fans. I'm glad we went.
Dave, you know this about me. I know none of you watching right now, maybe a few of you do, but I'm guessing none of you know. I'm a huge sports fan, and that was one of the best basketball games I've ever seen. Men's, women's, any level. And we're joined now by GUTV senior Liz Verdi, who was covering the game for GU this week. Liz, what were your thoughts on that game?
I thought the game was great. It had a very high level of intensity. The girls came out to play. Courtney Vandersloot had a fabulous game. She scored 34 points. She's 10 points away from the all-time record of 2,000. It was intense, and it was a terrific game, and it was fun for everyone to watch.
Liz, while you were covering the game for GU this week, you got the chance to sit next to GUTV alum and current KREM 2 sports anchor Chris Bach. What did he have to tell you? What did you learn from him?
Really, the most I learned about is how to craft good highlights for the newscast and make it a story, how to tell the story for the viewers, to pick out the perfect highlights that really determined that game. And it was really fun. It was gave me a lot of confidence to see someone that has graduated from our program making it in the sports world, which is what I want to do someday. It was a great experience.
And as you know, part of crafting that story is figuring out the right post-game questions to ask. You had a chance to interview Courtney Vandersloot after the game. What did you two talk about?
Well, the first thing we really talked about was the timeout that Kelly Graves took with 7 minutes left in the game, and the Zags were up by 4 points. After this timeout, they came out hard, and this is really when the Zags took off. Courtney, I just asked her, what did Coach have to say to you guys? And she just said, this is our game. We're going to win. That was the most important thing. And then we also talked about Kasheen Alexander, who was Iowa's best player, and really how they kept her under control. And their main strategy was not allowing her to penetrate. And because of that, they ended up winning and now are advancing on to the second round of the NCAA tournament.
Well, speaking of the second round, tonight's game against UCLA, you're going to be working that game. What lessons did you learn from the other game that will help you tonight?
The two really main things I learned were how important shorthand writing is, not to have to write every single thing down, really to see, oh, that's important, I want that, that's going to be in my highlights. So I'll take that away, and also keeping up on the stat sheets and finding the important things to be able to craft those questions for after the game.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Keep up
you.
the great work. Keep making GUTV proud. And good luck to the Gonzaga women's basketball team. Hopefully we have some more games of them to cover. Now, Liz is not the only GUTV member to be working on live sports. This pretty face here next to me was selected to go down to Las Vegas to cover the WCC tournament. Senior Taylor Vito dragged along with him and found out what he was doing when he wasn't winning too much money at the craps table.
Gonzaga junior David Gentili trekked to Vegas like many of his friends for spring break. But he didn't come simply just to gamble, hang by the pool, or just watch the Zags. He came to fulfill a dream.
In the Orleans Arena, you won't find David going crazy on TV in Gonzaga's students section.
Woo! Go Zags! #1! Oh!
Although, he'll still be found on TV.
I'm David Gentili from Gonzaga University. And
just in a different way. He was part of another elite team taking part in the WCC tournament.
We don't want to highlight the lowlights. No way.
Well, basically, WCC TV was kind of an all-day event. We had 8 students from each of the schools in the West Coast Conference, and what we were doing all day was doing game recaps, feature packages, and all kinds of things for a live broadcast.
3, 2.
For West Coast Conference basketball fans,
his experience with his fellow students could also have some positive effects.
And then toss it to you. I learned the importance of communication amongst the entire staff because, like I said, I need to be coordinating with my editors, telling them what highlights I want. I need to be coordinating with people shooting videos, saying, hey, look at this guy in the crowd. He's doing something this interesting. See if you can get that, and we'll write it into the show.
The process also helped him realize something about himself.
Katie, that's a lot of people to keep track of.
And I realized that that's something you can do as a job opportunity. So covering live sports, doing color commentary, something along those lines. That's what I want to do when I grow up.
Tonight we have very special for you.
And who knows, his next stop might just be in Bristol, Connecticut. Taylor Vito, GUTV.
Taylor, thank you very much for that excellent piece. And hey, Lindsay Joy, GUTV alumna, class of 2009. I know there's an opening in Casper, Wyoming. Why don't you give Taylor a little love there? Give Taylor a shout out. I'm sure he'd love to work with you again.
Yeah, he's definitely good at what he does. I got to look at that when I was in Vegas and he was doing his thing. But I just want to say about that whole Vegas thing, I was actually rolling the dice at the craps table for Dan and Phil and Mom. I know, maybe you frown on gambling or whatnot. I was kind of in the zone, though, and they told me that learning takes place in a number of ways. That was my first time in Vegas when I was 21, so that's all I got to say. If I was a gambling man then, like Dan and Phil were, probably would have put money on me, but if I was a gambling man in this bracket, yeah, I'm looking at names, and Ben Turner's not the guy I would bet on, Dave.
No, that would not be a smart idea.
Actually, but to make you feel a little better, we had the alumni bracket for those of you struggling. Ben, we're going to go ahead and give you this WCC Championships basketball shirt, and I got to say, I think it's a lot better than the Ask Professor Dan shirt. You might actually wear this one in public.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to wear sunglasses to wear the T-shirt because the other shirt's so bright. That looks good. Ben, that's going to look good on you, man. Now it's time for the alumni question box. We'll answer the questions you send in, and one question you didn't send in, you should have. I'll just answer it for you is, how can I give back to the program that gave me so much? Well, here's the answer. Log on to gonzaga.edu/make-a-gift, put in broadcasting as your designation, and watch the program you worked so hard for continue to prosper.
As far as questions you actually asked, I'll give you a little background here. You said, how's Phil doing? Well, I thought Phil, who's our chief broadcasting engineer, had a little bit of a bout with cancer. I thought it would be better if Phil could tell you himself.
Well, I'm back, and I've been back since first part of July, and I plan on sticking around. The diagnosis is good. my cancer's in remission, so I'm here for the new students that I missed a few in there while I was gone, and I missed all of you out there, the emails and conversations with you. So it'll be good to see you all again, and I hope you're all doing well.
Well, Phil Taylor, a special, special man. Now, as much as Professor Dan does for GUTV, let's be real. Phil is the backbone of this program, no doubt about it. Professor Dan was telling me a story one time that him and Phil make friendly wages very often, that Phil has beat him every time. And I was telling him, what are you doing betting? I mean, the man beat cancer. What chance does a skinny, bald guy have going up against that?
Let me break down this matchup for you. This is man v. man. Phil was man v. cancer, and he got that quality win. I mean, I know Dan's as tough as they come, but I don't think there's any way you can match up with that, Dave.
Well, no chance with that. Well, that's all the time we have here at GUTV Bracketology. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're having a great time here.
And as you all know, GUTV is a learning experience. So if you have feedback, what we did well, what we could improve on, please send an email to garrity@gonzaga.edu. For all of us here at GUTV, I'm David Gentili. Tune in next week for GUTV Bracketology.
Little painful with the skinny ball man.
Why?
But,
Stop. Stop.
good.
All right.
What I'm doing, it's different.
It doesn't work either way.
If they don't work right side up, they're not going to work right side down. I'm sorry.
It's all bad.
Upside down.
All of it is bad.
Do you think Kenny saved the receipt?
No, just give them to me.